main focus of 8 was to introduce a short version of a new genre that would also serve as a sample for a first feature-length film that would be the beginnings of a trilogy. In the beginning of the film, we see Christopher, who's an Olympic athlete. He's training, running alongside the Hudson River, falls into cardiac arrest, and then you have paramedics coming to rescue him. Immediately, the audience is transported right into his mind. The whole concept is like your life flashing before your eyes. So since his life is flashing before his eyes, we're able to tell a multi-dimensional storyline where not only do you have Christopher's present, but you have his present past and his past life. So you have a 3-dimensional story. These memories climax into an acupuncturist regressing Christopher into a past life where, you know, it basically leads you into and connects to the beginning of the voiceover, which basically gives you the summation of why he says, "But today I died in 8."
Now when you're ready, I want you to open the door. Where are you, Christopher?
8 was filmed in 6 different locations, 4 of which were in New Jersey by Fort Lee, known to be the first Hollywood in the early 1900s. Our acupuncture scene was filmed in a New York City skyrise where we had an actual acupuncture specialist on set guiding us on the proper use of these needles. Acupuncture is a traditional Chinese medical technique that has been in practice for over 2,000 years. I mean, this is something that had a science to it.
The Babalao, who is a high priest of the voodoo religion, was first written for a male lead.
They bless you. You are on a divine plan, a plan you have chosen. A plan sooner than later you must fulfill. In this life or the next.
The shells basically represents it's a divination instrument that some psychics actually use to foretell the future. She was foreseeing his death, but without a sense of understanding. But as she continued to interpret the shells, she saw that it was part of his chosen destiny, if you may call it. Part of something that he himself, his soul, had pre-chosen before incarnating into the present.
The castle scene definitely took the longest, being a 15-hour day. We had more to worry about as far as lighting, hair and makeup, and of course costume. Rachel, our hair and makeup / costume designer, did an excellent job fulfilling what we were looking for to fit that period.
It's so painful. I'm starving. You barely feed me now. I pray. I pray. I just pray.
I wanted it to look like this really could have happened. Like this might have been some dream that he woke up from, and it really would be what he would look like at 65, 70 years old. I was trying to take a man who was locked in a cell, who was malnourished, who was, had no sunlight, went through every hardship and was pretty much taken from, a human being to a shell of a man as he died. And I was supposed to age him up until about maybe 60s, maybe 70 if he was lucky for the time period. Each age usually took us between maybe half an hour to an hour. Our final aging though, we actually went through and we got a prosthetic mask, which I then kind of altered and adhered to his face. I mean, we got rid of pieces of it. We found, due to the time constraints, we couldn't build something. So we were able to find something that actually was very fitting to the age we were going for and very fitting to his facial structure.
The location was built in the 1700s and was recorded to hold slaves and be a part of the Underground Railroad, which I thought was pretty cool, and it added value to the scene. When we spoke to Richie, our set designer, about the scene, he found us a perfect location in Wagontown that suited the scene for the prisoner.
The location was perfect because it was so raw and rugged. there was like concrete floors, dirt, bugs. I mean, the walls had actually holes in them where at one point there was boards covering. I knew a guy that had a house that was built in 1736. We used, basically in his basement, there was an underground railroad portion of the house where once slaves were hidden. I believe at one point George Washington slept in the house. It was a very old location. To that point, the owner said nobody had been down there probably in a good 10, 12 years, so it was as old looking and dirty as a prison cell would be. The history of the house being, so old since 1736, there's been a lot of people born and died in that house. I've heard of children laughing in the house. His cousin and even including myself have heard what sounds like little kids playing in the attic. We've heard there's been somebody's heard old man voices sound like they're lecturing.
We were looking for a church where we would have a series of steps leading up to a door, recreating the passage from this life to the next.
The meaning of the guardian was a representation of a guardian angel, a guide, a force that basically many believe walk with us from the beginning of our birth until we pass on from this plane. We want people to question the meaning of their existence, to answer the question, why are we here? Or to understand that there is a reason for everything, that if the universe is an accident, then we are accidents. But if there's meaning in the world, then there has to be meaning in us. So if we're energy, and energy can't be destroyed, then I would have to conclude that we're immortal, that we live on.